Hello everyone. It's almost time for students to head back to school. August the 2nd will be here before we know it. For today's wellness session, I put together some tips for students and families to help ease the transition back to school. I hope that you'll try some of these tips to get ready for the new school year. The first tip that I want to share is discuss the transition. So parents or guardians, talk to your student about the upcoming school year. Some questions you may want to ask is, how are you feeling about the new school year? What do you think you might need to be successful? What are you most looking forward to? What fears do you have? Just give your student the opportunity to share their thoughts and concerns with you, or any feelings they may be having about their upcoming return to school. And this will give you time to address any concerns that might arise during this conversation. So we're already 1 or 2 weeks away from school. This is a good time to go ahead and start having these conversations so that both you and your student can prepare for the upcoming school year. If any concerns are mentioned, you can work together with your student to create an action plan for how you can address each concern. The important thing is just to listen and be supportive. Oftentimes, just having these discussions and creating a plan can soften any worries or fears they might be having. For the second tip, this is a great time to begin reestablishing routines for the school year. The first thing that you want to do is maybe look at making some adjustments to your child's schedule. This may include bedtime routines as well as early morning routines, as this can be, the transition to back to school can be extremely difficult for kids who are sleeping in super late during the summer months and then going to bed super late and then having to get used to waking up early in the morning and going to bed earlier, because sleep is very important for our students if we want them to come to school ready to learn. So just as important as sleep comes our eating patterns and nutrition. Summer can be a time where we stray away from our typical meals, and a lot of time kids just eat snacks all day. So we want to limit that and make sure that our children are getting used to eating nutritious meals, so they will be better able to learn whenever they get to school. So now's a good time to start looking at that as well. It's also a good time to begin limiting social media time or just screen time in general, and just plan some family activities. Maybe do something enjoyable. We got a couple more weeks left of school. Take advantage of the last bit of extra time that you have together. For the third tip, I encourage you to take your child to the doctor before school starts. Many schools require that students be up to date on their immunizations. So it's a good time to check with your doctor or even your local health department to make sure that your child is up to date on immunizations required for the school. Also, it's a good time to make sure you have any medication refills that you need, especially on medications that your student may need during the school hours. You definitely want to plan to communicate with the school nurse any of those needs and get them any information that they need from the doctor as well. It's a good time to make sure that your student has some kind of health insurance coverage, and maybe even get a physical or an eye exam. Like I said earlier, we're a couple of weeks out from school, so you got time to squeeze in an appointment before August the 2nd gets here. For our fourth tip, it's important to check on educational tasks. So if your family has had any, reading lists or any kind of educational task or goals for the summer, check on those, assess those, see where you are, what have you been doing this summer. If you haven't been doing any education-related tasks over the summer, it's a good time to go ahead and start. It's not too late. Even just reading is stimulating for the brain. That's a good activity to start engaging in if you haven't already. Also, you can start refreshing some study habits, maybe even do some worksheets, just anything like that to get your child's mind back ready for school to get started and working on those academics and refreshing any of those habits that go along with that. It's also a good idea to begin preparing a homework station or a study area, someplace where your child or student can go that's free of distractions, well lit, and just a place where they know that they can go focus on their studying or educational tasks, their homework, because we all know with school comes the homework and the studying. So it's also a good idea to get organized by so you have your homework station. You also want to, have a place set aside for where the backpacks are going to go, where the lunch will be, where school papers will be kept, just so that will help ease the transition for your student as well, because they'll know where to find everything and where everything goes when they get home from school each day. The next thing that you want to do as far as checking on educational tasks is figure out what kind of supplies that you need to get ready for back to school, whether that be clothes. I know several of our Early County schools, the Early County Elementary School and the Early County Middle School, are providing basic school supplies needs for students, and they'll be receiving those the first week of school. Early County High School is also providing backpacks for their students with a few supplies in them as well. It's a great idea to contact your school to see if there's any additional school supply needs, or find out any items that are on the wish list that could be purchased for your student or for your student's classroom. These are all great things that you can do to start preparing for the educational task. Also, the school's open house schedule and any orientations are listed on the Early County School System's webpage under Bobcat News, and you can also find this information on our school's Facebook page. I would encourage you to attend any that are relevant to your student's grade. Okay, so the last tip is just keep calm. I know that's easier said than done, especially when we're transitioning our schedules, making any kind of adjustments to our routine. That can be overwhelming and stressful for everyone, kids included. So this may be a good time to offer some calming strategies or coping skills to your students, or maybe even practicing some with them. If you want some ideas, you can go back and look at some of our previous videos with wellness tips with Lorie. We did a whole series on calming strategies, and I think any of these would be useful for helping calm those back to school jitters. Specifically, the breathing exercises I think would be great, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. And there's other things that you can do as well, making some stress balls with balloons and Play-Doh. Just any kind of activity that you can engage in that will help your student practice calming their nerves. Thank you for joining today's session, and I hope you'll stay tuned for our upcoming sessions.